In the ancient Middle East, a severe regional famine turns simple survival into a daily calculation. In an environment this fragile, destroying a neighbor's water supply is an act of supreme economic warfare. Escaping the drought, Isaac relocates his household to Gerar. Despite the brutal conditions of the surrounding famine, he manages to yield a massive harvest, quickly accumulating enormous flocks and a large workforce of servants. The local Philistines view a growing foreign economic presence in their territory as a distinct threat. Reacting to the pressure, King Abimelech makes a swift executive decision and formally evicts Isaac's entire camp. To guarantee the eviction is permanent, the Philistines deploy a crippling form of sabotage. They target the network of wells dug a generation earlier by Isaac's father Abraham and fill them to the brim with dirt. Without an immediate water source, a massive camp of livestock and people faces a rapid collapse under the desert sun. Isaac is forced out into the unforgiving Valley of Gerar, deliberately cut off from his only lifeline. To keep his household alive, Isaac has to literally dig into his family's past, laboring to unearth the region's most precious and highly contested resource. Isaac moves his sprawling operation to the base of the hills in the Valley of Gerar. It is an isolated position, offering little natural relief. His immediate priority is restoring what was lost. His crews excavate the earth-filled wells Abraham had built decades prior, deliberately reinstating the exact names his father had originally given them. In the ancient Near East, naming a well functions as a legally binding land deed. By reusing his father's specific designations, Isaac enforces a historical claim to his family's right to exist in that territory. But the old infrastructure has a strict capacity limit. Isaac's rapidly expanding modern camp requires a significantly larger volume of water to keep his herds and servants functioning. Relying solely on generational victories is insufficient. To sustain his growth in a hostile environment, Isaac takes the calculated risk of forging entirely new, independent resources. This map of the Gerar Valley tracks Isaac's expansion. His digging crews push into new terrain and strike a rare, highly valuable vein of underground running water. The local Philistine herdsmen immediately challenge the operation. They aggressively confront Isaac's men, claiming the running water belongs to their territory. Isaac refuses to engage in a costly, drawn-out war. He names the well Esek, which translates to quarrel, and orders his entire camp to pack up and relocate further down the valley. His crews dig a second well at the new site. The local herdsmen pursue them across the valley, forcing another bitter dispute over control of the water. Reflecting the escalating danger, Isaac names this well Sitnah, meaning enmity, and retreats again, pushing his people to the absolute fringes of the region. They dig a third time. Now positioned miles away from the Gerar settlement, the new well goes entirely unchallenged. Isaac names this final strike Rehoboth, meaning room, declaring that God has finally provided the physical space required for his people to thrive without conflict. This etymological map tracks a highly effective strategy. Rather than fighting over a single point, Isaac relies on geographic retreat and relentless resource development to expand his footprint. Having secured an independent water supply, Isaac moves his primary camp up to Beersheba, establishing the permanent headquarters and spiritual center for his household. Soon after, King Abimelech, accompanied by the commander of his formidable army, finally arrives at Isaac's new desert settlement. They haven't mobilized to finish Isaac off. Instead, the Philistine leaders sit down and formally request a binding peace treaty. The king recognizes a miscalculation. Expelling Isaac from Gerar forced him to build a massive, decentralized water infrastructure, turning a wealthy exile into a self-sufficient regional power. On the exact day the treaty is sworn and celebrated with a feast, Isaac's servants arrive with an announcement. They have struck water once again. Isaac names this final well Sheba, meaning oath. It is a title that permanently cements the name of the modern city, Beersheba, linking an ancient desert treaty directly to the present day. Historical influence in this narrative is secured entirely off the battlefield. Isaac controls the region's life-giving resources through the relentless digging of wells, expanding his reach until his opposition has no choice but to ask for peace.